Indirect racial discrimination is a term that encapsulates a subtle, yet pervasive form of unfair treatment based on race. Unlike direct discrimination, where actions or policies clearly target a particular racial group, indirect racial discrimination occurs when seemingly neutral practices disadvantage individuals from certain racial backgrounds. Though more insidious, its impact is no less significant. To understand indirect racial discrimination, imagine a workplace policy requiring all employees to work on weekends, a rule that ostensibly applies to everyone. However, the policy could disproportionately affect employees from certain racial or ethnic communities who observe weekends as days of religious or cultural importance. Here, the policy is neutral in its wording, yet discriminatory in its outcome. Such disparities arise not from explicit prejudices, but from a lack of consideration for diverse cultural realities. In education, for instance, a standardized testing policy might appear equitable, assuming all students have had similar access to resources and learning opportunities. However, if students from specific racial backgrounds are historically underfunded in their schooling, the outcome is indirectly discriminatory. They face systemic barriers that the policy overlooks, exacerbating racial inequalities in education. Another domain where indirect racial discrimination may manifest is housing. Zoning laws and mortgage lending practices, while neutral in policy, have led to segregated communities that restrict access to amenities, quality education, and job opportunities for racial minorities. For example, if loan approval criteria heavily weigh factors that are harder for minority communities to meet due to historical injustices, this can effectively exclude them from home ownership, further entrenching socioeconomic divides. Indirect racial discrimination is particularly challenging to address because it requires us to examine the broader social structures within which these policies exist. It invites a critical look at how entrenched systems perpetuate inequality and demands a proactive approach to level the playing field. One pivotal step in combating this form of discrimination is the application of an impact assessment for all new policies and procedures. This involves analyzing potential effects on various racial and ethnic groups, ensuring that good intentions don't unintentionally reinforce systemic inequities. Furthermore, though individuals and institutions may not harbor conscious bias, it is critical to nurture an environment of awareness and sensitivity towards the diverse needs of different communities. This shifts the focus from intent to impact, recognizing that even well-meaning actions can sustain unequal outcomes if they don't account for the lived realities of racial minorities. As we navigate the complex terrain of racial equality, it is essential to foster inclusive dialogue and education about the nuances of racial discrimination. This involves engaging all stakeholders in conversations that not only identify but actively dismantle indirect discrimination. In conclusion, while indirect racial discrimination may often go unnoticed, its consequences are profound and enduring. Understanding, recognizing, and mitigating these effects are crucial steps in leveling societal inequities. As we strive towards a future defined by fairness and justice, acknowledging and addressing indirect discrimination is not just a moral imperative, but a necessity for genuine progress.